Are you a priest?
Am I a priest?
Yeah.
No, I'm a pastor.
What's the difference between a priest and a pastor?
I don't know. I guess I could have said yes, I'm a priest, but I've never called myself a priest before.
A pastor is someone who spreads the word of God.
Yeah, that's me.
God, if I was your friend like that, I just said God, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm always being judged.
I say, oh my God. I try to make my daughter not say it, but I do, unfortunately.
I wasn't even
I'm
raised.
trying to be good. I'll say, oh my gosh.
I wasn't raised religious, but we weren't allowed to say that in my house. So maybe that was my religious component.
Hey, maybe so. How did you know I was a pastor?
Um,
You have Instagram?
I went to your website, and there was something that you have to. There was something. It's called the No Sweat. Hold on.
No Sweat intro?
The No Sweat intro. And as I looked at that, I thought, oh, his CrossFit gym looks like more than people coming to interview you. You're interviewing them. Like you want to see if, like, your gym looks like it's a family, and
Yeah.
people, and you want to just get a good read on people before you welcome them to the dinner table.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've told so many of my friends that planting or starting this gym is almost identical to planting a church. And me and two of my best friends, we planted a church 5 years ago. And so pretty much the steps and then how you care for people, it's the same thing. Like,
What did you say you and your friends did what 5 years ago?
we planted a church. We started a church in our area. Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 31.
So at 26 years old, you started a church?
I did.
How does someone start a church?
What is the first steps of starting a church?
Yeah. Well, now I thought, oh, that question is so open-ended. So many good things that it can come out of this. Yeah. So yeah, like let me go back a step. You're 31. At 26, you started church. What was the name of the church?
Move Church.
One more time.
Move, M-O-V-E, church.
So something happened to you that made you really want to share the word of God, just like something happened to you with CrossFit that made you really want to share the word of CrossFit. These are just like,
dude, you already. I was gonna actually say that in trying to figure out what the freak we're even gonna talk about today. But it's the same thing. Like, if I believe something wholeheartedly, I will give my life for that. I absolutely believe that God loves me and sent Jesus for me, and so I will give my life sharing that message and trying to get as many people to be impacted the same way I was impacted, right? Same with CrossFit. Like, I know CrossFit works. It changed my life. I even said to you, it saved my life. And as passionate as I am about seeing people know the Lord spiritually, physically, I want to see as many people healthy as possible. And like, that is what, like, it's the same thing.
And where did your path intersect with realizing that God loves you? Is that the phrase you used?
When
did that happen? Like, how do you know that?
How do I know that God let's see. I was probably 22 years old. I grew up a pastor's kid, so I've been around the church my whole life.
Okay.
22, man, I was doing whatever I wanted to do. Like, I'd go to church, all that stuff, but I didn't know Jesus for real. And then I was in a vehicle coming home from a trip where I had I did whatever I wanted to that weekend. And I remember sitting in the car on the way home thinking, what in the world am I doing? And that was the first time I ever prayed to God, like, for real, like, from my heart, like, Lord, like, I don't know, like, what I'm doing. And I'm sorry that I've lived this way. But in that moment, I knew he loved me. I didn't feel condemned. I didn't feel I felt convicted for sure from all the stuff. But at the same time, like, in that moment, I didn't feel condemnation. I felt love. And I felt like God saying, hey, look, I've loved you as much now as I've ever loved you. It's not based on what you do. That's the big thing in the South. Like,
so basically, you're driving in your car. All this is happening while you're driving in your car at the age of 22?
I wasn't even driving. I was riding in the car.
Okay.
And I felt it, man. And I started sobbing in the backseat of the car. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I was like, nothing. I just kind of had a moment with God. And dude, from that moment on, I experienced grace for real. And I'm not perfect, and I never will be, but I always know that wherever I am, God's there with me, and He loves me, and He's going to move me forward towards, looking like Him, being like Him, loving people like Him. And that's where all that started at 22.
And both these communities have some pretty intense peer pressure. I was going to say healthy peer pressure, but I won't even put that judgment on it. But I guess by that means, if you're a bank robber and you start going to church, they're going to try to talk you out of it. Just like if you come to a CrossFit gym and you show up with a Coke in your hand, they're going to be like,
yep.
Hey, slowly wean that off as part of your palate.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like, what's the steps to that though, right? Like it's more of the motive behind it than anything else. Like, why are you robbing banks? Like, is there like, do you need money? Is this all you've ever known? Right. Same with like Coca-Cola. Is that all you've ever drank? Like, so my nephew, all they drink is Mountain Dew. It's their whole family. So that's all he's ever known. You drink Mountain Dew with every meal, So it's like the conversation doesn't start with, hey, you should stop drinking that crap. It's like, let's figure out why you're drinking that stuff first.
Oh, interesting. Where's home for you? What state is Warrior CrossFit in?
Birmingham, Alabama. We're in Warrior, Alabama, just about 20 minutes north of Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay. And the Woe Town that stands for Warrior CrossFit?
Warrior, Alabama. Me and my friends, we've called Warrior Woe Town our whole life.
Okay. Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew seems to be huge in the South. I'm in California and I just don't see Mountain Dew. I mean, I see Coke trucks everywhere. I never see Mountain Dew.
If you ever come to Alabama, I'll let you come to one of my family functions. We should be sponsored by Mountain
Dew. Have you ever heard of Mountain Dew Mouth?
Like with the messed up teeth and all that stuff.
Yeah,
like,
where they put Mountain Dew in a baby bottle and they start feeding Mountain Dew to babies, and then by the time they're in their teens, the whole gum line is completely rotted away. You ever seen that?
I've never seen that. I don't know if I want to do that.
Trying to think what movie it was that I saw.
Dude, I just watched Waco for the first time the other day, and I can't handle anything where kids are being like messed with. I got almost a 2-year-old, and so now those things are hitting me like hardcore. You see kids like suffering like that. I couldn't handle that.
Being a pastor, do you watch Dracula movies out of your?
I'm just not into Dracula. I love Harry Potter, but Dracula is not my cup of tea.
I'm trying to think which Dracula movie it was I saw. I'll give you the name later, but I wasn't into Dracula movies either. But I didn't have kids, and then all of a sudden I had kids, and in this Dracula movie they're asking this guy to give up his only child, and his only way to avoid giving up his only child is to turn into Dracula. It's a mess. But I was sitting here in this movie that's an action movie, and I'm crying because I'm thinking, oh my God, what would I do? Would I turn into Dracula to save my son?
Dude, you do some crazy stuff as a parent, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's wild because you experience love in this way that you've never experienced before. Like you hear people say that, but until it happens, you don't even know. I would imagine it's the same with multiple kids.
And something happens biologically too, right? So like, I'm going to give you a real superficial example. I used to love when I would get new camera equipment in the mail, like a box would show up and I know a new camera would be in it. And I wouldn't do anything except just focus on that and come home, open the box, look at it. Now a new camera could come and it could sit on the table for a week because all I really want to do is spend time with my kids.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm
I'm
a huge fan of your kid's Instagram page. I just got introduced to it like last week. So the fact that this is like even happening right now is really wild, but dude, I love it. I already told Erin, my wife, I was like, we need to turn our garage into a gymnastics gym of just fun with all these different things. And I don't like down here, everybody, the pressure is your kid plays baseball, basketball, or football. That's probably anywhere, right? But I'm like, man, I don't want like my daughter to just have to go down that route. Like Erin, my wife, she played college softball, but like, and her family, they're big into softball. I'm like, man, it would be awesome if our daughter did something different. And then watching your Instagram, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. Let them just do everything, try everything.
Yeah, I didn't play any sports growing up. I was the chubby kid in PE class who got picked at. All the guys would get picked, and then some girls would start getting picked, and then I would get picked. And so I don't really know anything about baseball, football, or basketball or soccer, but I've been trying to fake it and like one day a week, just do each of those. And not for any reason. I don't have any interest in them doing those things, but I just want them to feel more comfortable than I did.
Right.
So if they're at a friend's house and everyone's hitting baseballs around, they can do it, but they don't end up being like me and just drinking a Coke.
Yeah, and they're just end up, their friend makes fun of them, and the next thing you know, they got them in an arm bar.
Right.
They'll have that skill.
And that is the one thing my kids do. Seriously, they do jiu-jitsu 3.
Oh yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
3 times a week.
I told my friend just recently. It was this past week. I watched the video where the 2 kids were fighting each other, and then I was reading some of the comments, and they're like, "Hey, what's the fine line between like moving in and letting them like self-soothe?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's some like life lessons to be learned here."
Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I got a brother.
And is he older or younger?
He's 16 months younger than me. He's like my best friend.
Wow, that's close.
Mm-hmm.
And did you guys wrestle a lot?
I was very timid. He was more like, I just couldn't hit him. I hit him one time in my life, and as soon as I hit him, I immediately apologized to him. I was like, "I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done that." But he beat the crap out of me.
So you had the pastor genes from the beginning.
I don't know. It was something. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I couldn't. I'm just timid. Like, I've never been in a fight. But I got some friends that do jujitsu, and I'm just like, I don't have like, I am way too timid of a person to try to even, the thought of even someone just making my lip bleed on accident, like that's not my deal,
I saw a bumper sticker. It said the jujitsu, the art of folding people's clothes while they're wearing them. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and I'm not mobile at all, so I would break in half. My brother put me in a WWE move when we were kids, and my back popped, and I just lost my breath. I thought he broke my spine, but I'm running to my parents going, "Mom, I think my spine's broken." Obviously, my spine was not broken because I was running, but dude, he still jokes on me about that.
So you're 22 years old. You have this encounter with
God,
spiritual enlightenment, God, yes, with God. And at 26, you and 4 of your buddies are like, "Hey, we're going to start a church."
Yes.
And at this time, are you 70 pounds overweight at this point?
No. So
No.
all of that started 2 years before.
Okay, 2 years.
Yeah.
But so you were.
I was a student pastor at a church before that. I was a student pastor for 10 years. So from from that moment with God, like forward, that's what happened. But yeah, 2 years before that. So that was almost 7 years ago now. What year? 2020. So 2013. That's when I had. I was like, that's where I found CrossFit at. I found God in the back of an Impala, and then I found CrossFit. 2013 in Gardendale, Alabama.
I'm a little lost here. So give me a second. So you're at 22. Were you overweight?
Yes.
Okay. When did that happen? When did you start getting overweight? Were you overweight as a kid?
Oh yeah. I've probably middle school. All my friends were losing their baby fat, and I wasn't. Just because, we didn't know what to eat. We just pizza, all what kids ate, right? And then we didn't really know like how to exercise. I played golf in high school. Pretty competitive with golf, but as far as physical fit stuff, I didn't care about any of that stuff. And then at that point in time, he was like, "Hey, I just had the right friends, and so we were hanging out with the crew. So it didn't matter what I looked like. Because I was around people all the time. And then as you get older, I guess you start noticing more of those things or something. And at 24 is when my physical fit stuff started happening, where I found CrossFit. But yeah, I was just depressed. So from 22, 24, pastoring, dude, I was depressed, but I didn't really talk to many people about it. Everybody thinks that, pastors have all their crap together all the time. We really don't.
I still think that, even though you're telling me that they don't, I don't believe you.
Yeah, I absolutely don't. Like every day, I'm like every day I have to like humble myself and be like, "God, I need you today because I'm one decision from stupid. Just one. Like I could be really stupid on this podcast right now, and it'd be, whatever." So that happened at 22. So depressed. I would come home from work every day. Like we would have like small groups. I was pastoring kids and all this stuff. I'd come home and I was just like exhausted. I didn't want to go to sporting events. I didn't want to go lead in any capacity because I had no energy. Then mentally I start looking myself in the mirror. I'm like, what's going on? Tried to date a few girls, but they were way out of my league. And they're like, hey, look, I just like you as a friend. And that happened like 4 back, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I was like, well, I need to do something. It was not lady or girl driven at all, but it was just all these factors just mentally like wore me down. I was like, what in the world am I going to do? I had a friend who did CrossFit, and he lost like, I want to say close to 100 pounds doing CrossFit. And he posted a picture on Facebook. I watched this whole story on Facebook. I was like, there's no way I can do this. There's no way.
You had a friend who lost 100 pounds doing CrossFit.
I want to say it's close. I don't know the exact number.
But he doesn't look anything like the same person when he started. You don't know.
I said he was as big as I was, and then he was like fit. I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like, what is he
same age as you?
Yeah, he was a year younger than me.
Okay.
And that's what I tell people all the time, like the power of like sharing your story on that stuff, how inspiring it could be. Like we weren't even like, I say we were friends. We knew of each other. We were Facebook friends. But I saw him post that, and I was like, okay, let's see if I can do this. Only thing I knew about CrossFit at the time was Rich Froning. That was it. A lot of people probably the same way.
Yep.
I was like, let's see if I could do this. I went to my local affiliate at the time in our hometown, CrossFit Gardendale is the name of it. And they had an on-ramp program, and I was like, okay. They're like, you.
Let me stop you here for a second. I want to go back to the girl thing. Sorry, I'm just fixated on it.
Hey, I love this. Like,
I ever wanted to do what?
I've watched like the old ones you used to do, and they're like pretty much similar. Like you just everywhere. I was afraid you were going to bash me like Dan Bailey when you found out that I was a Christian.
Ever since I was 5 years old, my kindergarten Mrs. Allen, I knew that my whole life was dedicated to having women find me attractive and like me. And so I'm 48 now. Somewhere it's waned substantially. Once I had kids, and now I've really settled in with my wife. I don't understand how weren't you just like from the 8th grade to 24 being like, hey, I'm overweight and no girl's ever going to want to put her hands on me because I'm overweight and I got to do something about this? I mean, wasn't that just weighing on you, or no, you weren't in that?
Because I outkicked my coverage like 3 times in a row. I had like 3 serious like high school relationships. I don't know how, other than, I don't know. I got really lucky. And so I had out of my league girlfriends, and then that didn't happen anymore.
So you were like, oh, I can just lean on my personality.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good.
Social media came out, and they're like, nope, it's not about personality anymore. Like before, hey, if you just get to know me. So I guess the dating, how it happened, changed.
Is your brother overweight?
He was. He's on a journey. He's a member of our gym.
Oh, sweet. Oh, you must be so happy about that.
Oh yeah, I love it.
And how about your parents? How are they? How's their fitness?
So I personal train my mom. She had a really bad car wreck. So her knee is shattered. So we do some personal training with her, even teaching them like nutrition stuff. That just started in January, like them learning like macronutrients and stuff like that. So trying to walk them down the path, and my dad, he's a member at our gym as well. He comes to our noon class. So it's fun, like coaching him on how to do like a power clean, and seeing him get really frustrated when he can't like snatch something. It's fun. But how did you get your
parents to do that? Don't they think you're crazy? Weren't they like, no, we're not going to do it?
Super supportive parents, super blessed. My parents are awesome. And so they've supported me in every facet of my life. And so I lived at home when all of this started, even with CrossFit. So they watched it happen. And when we opened up our gym, they're like, hey, before then they're like, hey, that's your thing, you do it. But now they're like, hey, we've supported you in everything else that you've done. We're going to support you in this too. And now they're, members of our gym.
My mom has cried to me out of the blue and which is really uncharacteristic for my mom. She's 76 and she started CrossFit at 69, I want to say. And I'd say 3 times in those years, the only 3 times I've ever seen her cry is she'll like put her hands out, her cold hands. And I love her cold hands. When I was a little boy, I loved her hands on me. She put her hands on my neck and she would cry, look me in the eyes and cry and be like, thank you so much for introducing me to CrossFit. It's crazy.
So that'll be great when I get there. I'm nowhere near that. Like, nowhere near. But my dad did do the open this past year, just because our gym was doing it. So I literally, I don't remember what workout it was. Maybe it's 19.2 or I don't remember. But I thought, or 22. And I thought I was watching my dad die in front of my eyes as I was coaching him.
You're like, oh shit, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought was happening. I was like, I'm watching my dad get the life sucked out of him right here. But yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. And my wife's parents, I think they're really close to joining the gym also. So it's just getting over the fact of, do I want to listen to someone younger than me? Like, humble myself to the point to be coached by someone butt that I wiped when I was a kid,
I get that. For my mom, the first year was super stressful. She said she had to take the classes first thing in the morning and get them out of the way, or else the whole day, she said, she was tripping.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I just got this thing that said my internet connection is unstable. Did you hear any of that?
I heard all of it.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, you're good.
By the way, congratulations. Getting parents, your wife's parents and your parents, huge. Okay, so how do you find Gardenville CrossFit, and what gives you the balls to actually walk in?
I knew something in my life had to change. That was it. Like, I joined several gyms over like a span of 6 years, but I'd go in, try to work out. Then I would get mental because like, there's no way what I'm doing is working. So now I'm just wasting my time. I'm out of here. Then I didn't have any accountability or nothing. So I was like, forget this. So it was really like a last ditch effort. I was like, if this doesn't work, then nothing is going to work for me. And so I just went to the door. I remember walking in the middle of a class and I was like, hey, I want to sign up for your beginner's class. And like, I was wearing like skinny jeans. I was a fat guy in skinny jeans and like an outdated shirt. And he was like, yeah, but you got to wear like athletic clothes to work out tomorrow, right? I was like, yes, I know that. I'm not stupid. But it was just, hey, you get a month free. That's kind of how it went. I was like, okay, worst thing, I'm out $150, And so I went and talked to them, and then that next night started their on-ramp program. And dude, it was the simplest workout ever. Looking back at it now, it was 4 rounds of 10 push-ups, 10 air squats, 10 sit-ups. That's it. I was like, oh man, that's
Say it one more time. I want to write it down. Say it one more time. 10.
4 rounds, 10 push-ups, 10 air squats, 10 sit-ups.
Okay.
That's it. So we learned all of our movements for the night with the PVC pipe. Then I get to the workout. I'm like, oh, that's nothing. I'll be fine. I'll make it. Round 3, I seriously thought I was going to die. And at the end of round 4, I was like, there's no way I can do this. And so then after we get done with the workout, it probably took me like 16 minutes to do that or something like that. And we're sitting down in the front. They were kind of debriefing for the night. And they're like, hey, well, you don't have any questions? And I thought I was going to vomit. And so I was like, yeah, where do you throw up at? And they're like, well, you just need to go outside. And so like I run outside and I start dry heaving. And luckily I didn't throw up, but I just got so embarrassed too. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm the only one. I'm in this room with other guys my age and then like 3 moms. And they kicked my butt. I'm like, there's no way. So I'm sitting on the curb, and this is why I stayed. Like this is the thing. I was sitting on the curb. And I was like, well, I just wasted $150. I'm not coming back tomorrow night. And my coach, he's the owner of the gym. His name's Chad Langston. He came outside, and he gave me a bottle of water. He's like, hey man, you did good. I'll see you tomorrow. That's it.
That'll be $250.
Yeah, no, he didn't charge you for the water, thank God. The one time he didn't charge me for the water, but like just that brief, it was no like Master Yoda speech or anything like that. That was it. That's all I needed. Because up until that moment, like mentally, I quit. I was like, I'm not coming back. But that one little conversation changed everything for me. Because he said, "Hey, look, you did good. I'll see you tomorrow." Which meant no one else had ever done that, because I went through that gamut so many times at other gyms. I'm never coming back. I don't even know what I'm doing. But he came out and kind of walked me through that process. And from that day forward, it's never been a thought, am I going to quit CrossFit? No matter how like sucky of a workout we do, or how difficult something is, or how crazy my schedule gets, it's not been the case. And so that was in August, and by May of the next year, I had already lost 70 pounds. So I was losing like 10 pounds a month. And I'm the type of guy that, like, if I see something working, I'm just going to keep doing that. That's why I love Legos as a kid. Like, you tell me what the end product's going to be, I'll do that. And so I was like, you tell me what to do, I'll do it. Every day I was working out 4 to 6 times a week, just boom, boom, boom. I'm learning everything, finally got double unders, all that stuff. And it was just like, by the end of the time, May, I'd lost 70 pounds. Now, I didn't know much about nutrition at the time, but who cares? That we can build off that stuff. But that was 7
You
years.
lost 70 pounds without knowing anything about nutrition?
Yeah. My nutrition was, okay, I'm not going to eat bread, I'm not going to eat fried foods, and I'm only going to drink water.
Okay, that's huge, though. Cutting out bread's huge.
That was it. I was afraid. Have you ever seen the movie Heavyweights?
No, but before you go there, how did you know to cut out bread, fried food, and just drink water?
Part of it was just like, I know these are probably bad things for me.
Okay.
But they walked me through like they said, hey, here's some things we recommend eating. Maybe you should cut out some of these things. But it was never like some like deep, nutrition program like things that are available now.
Okay.
So yeah, that was it. And I was just afraid that if I ate a piece of bread, that I would go into a food coma, wake up like 5 days later, all my weight would be back on. So that was the thing.
That is what would happen.
Yeah, it probably would have. That was my fear. That's why. So for a year, that is exactly what made my decisions for what I ate every day.
So what about the movie Heavyweights?
That was it. That there's this moment in the movie. If you didn't see it, I don't even want to go down that path, because it wouldn't even be funny. So
maybe someone's listening and seen it. Is it a comedy? Who's in it?
Yeah, it's an old Disney movie. Like, they go to a fat camp, these kids do, and they're like hiding food, and at the end, it's got Ben Stiller in it, and he's trying to get all these kids to lose weight, and so he's like making them, like, cutting out meals and all this. And they finally overthrow him and putting him in like this like guarded gate stuff, and they had this big party, and they're eating like all this food, and they wake up the next day and they're just like covered in like Twinkies and all this stuff, and they're like, did y'all learn anything? And they're like, don't put Twinkies on your pizza. That was like the biggest thing. And that's what I felt like if I ate a piece of bread, that was the next step. It was me waking up the next day.
As a pastor, are you only allowed to watch Disney movies? Is that one of the things they tell you? And
no, man, I'm from the South, and like, no.
Have you seen Porky's?
I have not seen Porky's.
Do you even know of that movie? You're probably too young.
Yeah, I know what Porky's is. I definitely do. No, man, look.
As a kid, that was my introduction to the South. Like, when I think of the South, I think of Porky's. I don't even know where that movie took place, but that's just like, as a California boy, I thought, okay, we had to sneak to watch it. But when I would see it, I was like, okay, that's the South.
No, man, I wasn't allowed. So I wasn't allowed to like read Harry Potter back in the day. But I remember my dad, he sat down with me. He's like, hey, look, if you understand, you can tell me that that this stuff isn't real, I'll let you read it. And that so I mean, there was those things, but no, my parents were cool. They let us watch stuff and listen to music and all that stuff.
Why did they call you Trace? What's that? Where's that?
Third, Sidney Charles Kennedy III. So that's that's the Southern way.
Oh,
Trace, right? Trace.
Yeah. So what's your name?
Sidney Charles Kennedy III.
And does anyone call you Sidney?
No. People who don't know me, so people maybe at the bank, teachers in high school and college the first day.
Is Sidney a girl's name? I know there's the famous actor Sidney Poitier, and that's a dude. But
Sydney is definitely a girl's name, man.
It is.
I caught so much like heck from people, and like I dreaded the first day of school because I knew my teacher was going to call me Sydney, and there was always going to be that one dude in class be like, "Oh, that's a girl's name." Then I turn blood red and be embarrassed for like 20 minutes. It happened every year. I was like, please just go by last names. Just call last names. Just call last names. No,
All the Sydneys I ever knew were hot. They were all hot.
Even this one?
No, not this one. Well, maybe now you are. Now you are. Now that you've been CrossFitting, but back then maybe you weren't so hot.
That's hilarious.
So you go into the gym and you have that first day, and are you just crazy sore the next day?
Yes. Yeah, I was. It was really the second when I got into the actual workouts, like once they took us out of on ramp. That's when I really got sore for the first time.
And you're 24 years old and 70 pounds overweight, and you're just getting into it. And it's kind of like quitting smoking. It's like, people who quit smoking, you can try 20 times before you finally get it.
Yep.
And
it was
you'd gone to several gyms and you had tried a bunch of times to find your place, start your weight loss journey. You just couldn't find it.
Yeah, I couldn't. I needed someone to tell me what to do, and I needed accountability. Those were the two pieces that I needed.
And you got that accountability and that peer pressure and that love and that support by the simple gesture of the affiliate owner. What was his name? Something Langston?
Chad Langston.
Chad Langston came out and handed you a bottle of water.
That's it, man. That is it. I am forever indebted to him. Like
the smile that changed the world.
I love him. I love him to death. And I told him that I'm not who I am today. Like my family will not be who they are today. Like none of that probably doesn't happen. It may, who knows, but he's definitely, I'll always point to him. So I'll always he'll be a pillar in my story forever, So, and I don't know if he meant his ambitions were, hey, I'm going to open up a gym and let's see what happens. But that's part of the reason why we even open our affiliate. We want to help as many people as possible. And I'm not saying I want to be a pillar in somebody's life, but I want to help make that connection.
It's a place of positive transformation, and you've already dedicated your life to do that through the church. And this is just another piece.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
For anyone who doesn't do CrossFit, just so you know, this is why it's so popular, because it works. And this isn't some isolated story that Trace is telling. I have my story. My mom has her story. Everyone has their story. Every single person, from Rich Froning to Dave Castro to Nicole Carroll to Trace Kennedy. Every person has their story like this. This isn't just workout, get fit. This is where you bro out and meet your wife and be with like-minded people who want a better world.
Yep. That's it, man. That is absolutely it. And everybody has a why. And that's what we try to help people find here. Why are you doing this? It's way more than I want to lose 30 pounds. It was. For me, it was. I wanted to, I needed mentally, something needed to change for me. At the end of the day, that's why I did this. And other people finding those whys. And then you surround yourself with people who are like, hey, my why may be different, but we know that this is the thing that's going to help us accomplish the why. And you don't find that a lot of places. You really don't. Some churches you don't even find that stuff, for sure.
Well, tell me about that. What do you mean your why? Go into that. I was going to wait to ask you that, but tell me, what do you mean? I don't even know what that means.
My why for work. Why do I work out?
Yeah, or any kind of why. What are you referencing when you say find out your why?
What motivates you to make the decision? Why are you going to walk in the doors to this place? Why are you going to spend an hour of your day somewhere? There has to be a reason. There has to be, right? So mine now is I want to model health and wellness for my daughter. Number one.
Okay. So sorry. So you had your daughter already? No, you didn't have your daughter when you.
No. My wife's totally
okay.
Now, for
okay,
sure.
So it's changed. Your why can change.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the great things about CrossFit too. The why will always change. So I wanted to lose a bunch of weight. So what happens when I lose a bunch of weight? Well, like, why would I come back? Why does it matter? Well, now I want to learn how to spin a jump rope under my feet 2 times, or I would like to, learn how to do a bar muscle up. And then it switches to, oh, wow, what's this nutrition stuff that you guys were talking about? I would love to maybe have abs one day, and then it switched like off of those things that, oh, wow, this is having an impact on other people now. So I want to keep leading people, and I want other people, like if 2 people decide, oh man, maybe I can do this CrossFit thing and prioritize my health and wellness. Okay, and that's my why now. Those my 2 things. My daughter prioritizing health and wellness for her, knowing it's a priority, and then the second thing is that I don't want to ask other people to do things that I'm not going to do. So if I'm going to tell people on a weekly basis in No Sweat Intros, hey, this works. If you work out 3 to 5 times a week, you will see you're like so many different things in your health life.
Why do you do No Sweat Intros? Yours wasn't a No Sweat intro.
Yeah, I think I don't.
And by that, people, I mean people come into people who are listening, and I know this because I looked at his website. But it's just what he says. If you come to Motown CrossFit and you meet Trace or Aaron Kennedy, they talk to you for 15 minutes, and that's your first session. It's not get in there and do the 4 rounds of
we're going to talk about
push-ups and sit-ups.
Like, I want to know why you're here. Like, and if you say it's so you can lose 30 pounds, okay, but why do you want to lose 30 pounds? Like, what else? Let's find something else. Oh, you have kids and you're playing outside with your kids, but you can't really play outside with your kids because you're out of breath all the time, or when you
tired of having sex with the lights off.
Yeah, that too. Or if you want to go, like we go to the beach and you dread going to the beach because of how they're going to look at you. Like, okay,
I need 4 beers to take my shirt off.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people. There's some people who are those ways. I couldn't tell you how many No Sweat intros we've had where people, like grown men, are like break down in tears, admitting for the first time, I'm insecure about my body. I've been insecure about my body since I was 13 years old.
Amen.
And so finding that's something you can build off of, because guess when your life continues to happen or things fight for your time on your schedule, if the why is not strong, then we know, well, look, I'll exercise some other time, or I'll figure something else out to do. I'm trying to marry those 2 things together, CrossFit and people's like their whys.
Have you heard any? Have you ever tried to change someone's why? Like someone says something and you're like, nah, that's not your why. This is your why. Or like they're not thinking deep enough, or.
Yeah, I wouldn't change it. I would just try to keep asking questions until they kind of, and some people don't know. And so helping them discover those things, that's huge too. Like, oh, wow, yeah, you're right. That's really why I'm here. So if we can connect those things, then we're seeing, we've seen so many stories already of people who, I mean, I could just rattle off lists, but I don't really want to rattle.
Your gym, on your website, you say that you guys have lost your combined weight loss of your members. How long have you been open? You've been open 8 months?
October was when we opened, the first week in October.
Oh, that's interesting. And your first time going into a CrossFit gym was in October also?
August.
Oh, so August to October, you lost 70 pounds?
No. I started in August, and in May, I had lost 70 pounds.
Okay, that's right. Okay, I'm getting my dates confused. God, there's competing questions in my brain now. Hold on one second. I want to talk about the 800-pound weight loss in your gym, but first I want to go back to your journey. So you go in August, and how much do you weigh?
I don't know the exact number because I was afraid to get on a scale.
Okay, then how do you know in May you lost 70 pounds?
Okay, so I do know that when I got on the scale in 3 weeks later, that I weighed 260.
Oh my goodness. Okay. You were a big man. How tall are you?
I'm 5'11".
Woo!
I was a big boy.
Yeah. So you weigh under 200 pounds now.
I weigh 185 now.
Yeah, you look lean and mean. Like I can see your ears. You don't have any head fat or nothing. You got one chin. And you got the hipster mustache. I seriously, when I saw you for the first time I met you, and I saw your look, I would have never thought you had a 70-pound weight loss story. You look like the guy who was like, you kind of have that image with those glasses and the religious background that like you were 6'2", 105 pounds, and you did CrossFit to put on weight. I did you.
No. And this is just from quarantine. Like this all, like my wife wouldn't let me bleach my hair blonde, so I did a mustache instead.
Do you rap?
No.
So I would just be cool to have a rapping pastor.
They're out there, I'm sure. My hair's too short. If I would have bleached my hair, I would have got so many Eminem jokes, and so that was another reason I didn't do it.
And that's exactly why I said, do you rap? So you go in August, and in August, let's say August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, in less than a year, 10 months, let's say, you lose at least 70 pounds, maybe more.
Probably more.
And you do that through working out 4 to 6 days a week with Chad Langston at Gardenville CrossFit. And you, the only dietary changes you make are basically you change anything you drink to water. You cut out fried foods and bread.
Breads. Yep.
And the weight's just dropping.
It is. So I was averaging 10 pounds a month, I want to say. I was trying to lose 2 pounds a week. That's what I was trying,
And who's the first person who said something to you? Like, hey, what's going on? You sick or what?
Or
did people know? Were you just nonstop CrossFit blah, blah?
Oh, yeah. Shoot, yeah. Dude, I'm a millennial, man. I was on Instagram posting all the time, dude. The first time I had the inkling of a blister, it was on my Instagram page. But I don't really know. I think one of the other owners at the gym, she was the first one who said, "Oh my gosh, you've lost a lot of weight." And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then she pulled up the picture of our on-ramp class, and I was like, "Holy crap, I have lost." I knew I'd seen it on the scale, but that was the first time. And that was probably month 3 that I was in there, that she said something, and then other people just kind of slowly started saying things as well. And when I start buying other clothes, I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, I definitely noticed a difference now.
And did you know Aaron during this time?
Oh, yeah. We went to high school together. We hung out in some of the same circles in high school, but she was super popular. She was a cheerleader. She played softball, all that stuff. I was the mascot in high school. I was like a punk rock kid, so I wasn't really around her much. But she was the cheerleader who dated like punk rock kids and stuff like that. And so I knew of her. I had a huge crush on her. Almost messaged her on MySpace and asked her to go to prom with me, but I didn't. Thank God.
She's the same age as you?
A year younger than me.
Okay.
But then in college, our worlds kind of combined because she got saved in college. And so we started going to some of the same like church functions, gatherings, small groups, stuff like that. And that's where we started hanging out more. And
you must have been stoked. You're at a church function and your high school crush shows up. You're like, oh, there is a God. No wonder you believe in God.
Dude, it's easy, man. It's like, hey, that's just one more sign. Like, okay, yeah, this is happening for sure. But I tried to date her. Like I tried to, well, not date. I asked her on a date. We went on a date. And this is when I was like big. I was a big old boy. I think she probably said yes out of sympathy because we were friends and hung out or whatever. And then after the date, I was like, hey, I enjoyed that. You want to go out again sometime? And she responded, I just like you as a friend. So I was like riding on high. I was like, oh my gosh, I finally went on a date with a girl I've been trying to go on a date with for a year. And then she just liked me as a friend. I was like, oh crap, this is terrible. And that happened. And then like it happened a few more times. And so that was like almost a year before I started CrossFit too. Then I started CrossFit, lost a bunch of weight. But before that, like she said she liked me as a friend. I kind of got ahead of myself. So I thought that just meant, hey, don't talk to me anymore. Like, get out of here. That's my nice way of saying thanks, but no thanks. So I just stopped talking to her. And then a month later, she texts me and says, I really miss talking to you. And I was like, oh my gosh, she really does want to be my friend. This stinks. And so we stay friends and hang out and like, communicate with each other. And then I start, the CrossFit thing. And
did you think when you started CrossFit, hey, maybe I'm doing was she any of your like motivation? Like
no,
days you didn't want to go, you'd be like, hey, I'm going to do this because I really want to catch her attention?
no, not her. There was another girl that I've never even shared this, and I don't even know who's gonna watch this. I know or listen to this. I know some of my friends will for sure, but like there's this one girl. I was just like a whim. We started talking a little bit, and then she just like no more. And she was my real motivation. Like when I didn't want to go, like it wasn't I was attracted to her anymore. I didn't have any feelings for her. I was just like, no, this is not happening again. And so I'd be running or doing some exercise or one of the workouts, and I'd be like, nope. She was definitely my motivation, for sure. But I had Erin was never anything like that. It was just like we were just friends.
You had kind of admitted defeat. There was no way. She had transcended you. She was in the clouds.
Deep down, I was like, goodness, I would seriously love to go on a date with her and marry her. That was like I felt it. Like,
wow.
When you know, right? She just didn't. So I had to go through 11 months of hell doing CrossFit for her to realize that she liked me too.
What a great gift to your gym to go through that transformation and let everyone witness that. You know that? It's like hope for everybody.
She didn't do CrossFit at the time.
I don't mean even her though. I don't even mean her. I just mean all the people at Gardenville CrossFit to get to sit there and see you come in 4 to 6 days a week and be basically, I mean, you were a beaten, scared puppy on its last hope for losing weight, and something clicked there. And everyone there, like as they were giving you a gift, you took such responsibility, whether you know it or not, and actually gave everyone there a greater gift than they gave you. It really is that way. I know it's that way for the gyms my mom goes to. They see a 76-year-old woman working out and kicking ass, and they're like, what the heck? They can't even believe it. Yeah, I normally would have said the F word, but with you, I'm just trying
to that doesn't bother me at all.
I'm just trying to do my part. You're effective.
It was kind of funny. I was like, I wonder if he ever does say heck. That's funny that he said it. But I tried. So I was a member of CrossFit Gardendale for 6 years. And there was like other than inviting people to the church that I was a part of, the only other place I would invite strangers to or tell strangers to go to was the gym. I tried to get as many people as possible to come and work out. And I was bummed when some of my friends came and like, no, this isn't for me. I'm like, what do you mean this isn't for you? Are you freaking kidding me? So yeah, that they definitely hold a special place in my heart.
What percentage of your gym members go to church?
Ooh, that's a good question. Maybe 75%.
And of those, what percentage go to your church?
Ooh, of that percentage, 30% maybe.
It's interesting because I don't go to church. I don't have any set faith, but regardless of what denomination or what church my friends go to, I really like church going people. They're just good people. Like,
oh yeah, man.
It's like a good tool to like vet your friends. They have a compass, Yeah,
I tried to toe a fine line there too, because I didn't want to, I know I have some sort of authority in the church that we're a part of. So I really did try to toe that line very carefully to not be like, hey, you guys should come to my gym, and now
right.
do this stuff, So I'm
going to say some bad shit to God about you.
Yeah, I didn't want to kind of use that. But some people were there. They saw the life change it had for me. They saw the transformation. So I'm pastoring their students, and then we plant this church. And so I'm on stage, and they see this chunky kid slowly, transform, and hey, what did you do? And it wasn't just a fad or a phase, it's we're 5 years in, 6 years in, 7 years in. Okay, now you have my attention. What are you doing to see this kind of health change? And I'm it's CrossFit.
There's no greater, this is a bad word in the CrossFit world, but there is no better marketing plan than to be a priest and to lose 100 pounds. I mean, I expect your gym to have 10,000 people. I mean, because they know you have the recipe.
Yeah.
They know you got the recipe. You did it. Hey, here's my casserole. Look, no one can be like, well, he doesn't know. No, actually, do you have a picture of your fat self up in your gym?
No, I don't.
Oh, there you go. Free marketing right there. I just gave you a great idea. You take that to the bank.
Dude, there's not many of those pictures left. I try to find them every now and then, but
so you're at CrossFit Gardenville for 6 years. My two questions are: what finally clicked? Does Aaron? My questions are going to be: how did they feel about you breaking away from the gym? And my other question is I want to know how you finally got Aaron on the line. And did she actually see you lose? Like, would you see her once a week during this 11-month initial 70 pounds?
That's the cool thing. And so we were friends, and we stayed friends. And she saw me lose the weight. And I tried to date some other girls, but I always had feelings for her. So I was like, okay, at some point in time, we had a conversation. We hung out one night. I said,
"This is skinny version of you, or still giant?"
No, skinny me. I was like, hey, if you just like me as a friend, then we can't be friends anymore, because I want to get married. I have that desire to get married at some point in time, but it's not going to happen because I have feelings for you. And that night she told me, she's like, I like you as more than a friend. And that's all I needed. So I was all in from that moment forward. You know, we got married 9 months later, I want to say, from that.
Wow.
Yeah. We'd been friends. We knew so much about each other.
Right. 10 years.
Yeah. So yeah, that was, and it was like, that was the coolest moment ever. You know, that sometimes I get not sad. I cry telling that story, but I'm not going to. But I love, like, yeah, when she said that, it was all like, yeah, I knew. And it was just, and I joked with her because once we got more comfortable in our relationship, because I was like, hey, look, I'm not going to say it's because I'm skinny now that you have feelings for me, but I know I already had the personality of a fat guy, and then I lost weight. So I know that I'm a home run. So you just be lucky that you got me. And she gives me crap about that every now and then, for sure. But
I knew my wife I pursued my wife for 5 years, just so you know, before anything happened. And it was the greatest thing ever. It's like to be friends with someone. Yes. To be friends with someone for 5 years. And then finally it happened. It was like, it's what's carried us the next 18 years.
Sure, man. Like that's like she still, as how I felt about her then, I still feel like, I don't say I feel the same about her. I feel like I've loved her in new ways now, but that like it was effort, and that's what I needed. All my previous relationships, they were like, whatever. I didn't have to try. I had to try. I had to put in work to even get like her attention, and so it was worth it for sure. And so we got engaged, and she was still just doing her own thing fitness wise. And then after we got engaged, I went to her house one day, and I had one of those little Kalo rings. And I got down on my knee and said, will you do CrossFit with me? and she started laughing. And she's like, yeah, I'll start doing CrossFit with you. And this was after we were engaged. And so she started at that point in time, like that next on-ramp, she started doing CrossFit. And it took her 5 months. And then she started
at Gardendale.
Yeah, Gardendale. And she started kicking my butt in workouts immediately. Because she was athletic. She played, college softball. She had it. She instantly became like the fittest girl in the gym, all this stuff. And I was like, yep, that's my wife. I'm going to just hitch my wagon to her now. Like, forget my weight loss journey. My wife's kicking everybody's butt in here. So
as superficial as it sounds, you really have to like look at the big picture. It's more, yes, she found you more attractive, 70 pounds less. Were you ever, let me go back saying, were you ever diagnosed with anything when you were overweight, hypertension, diabetes, anything like that?
Yeah, it runs in our family for sure. My grandmother and grandfather both had diabetes. Heart disease runs in my family. I've had 3 family members die of heart attacks. So
how happy are you that this COVID thing is out and you're 70 pounds less? And it's just, I mean, I'm going to
just say my family history. This CrossFit for sure changed my family. And me and my brother have had that conversation several times. I'm like, hey, look, some of this disease that's ran in our family ends with us. It really does. And so that's another, knowing that will make me come to the gym on days I don't want to come to the gym too.
Yeah. Eventually maybe your daughter's kids won't know that heart disease runs in the family. They won't have that as part of their narrative like you have.
That's the dream. That's the hope for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's not super. It wasn't.
It's not superficial. And sorry, so this is where I was going. No one wants to marry someone and spend the rest of their life with them, knowing at 65 they're gonna be in a wheelchair or in a walker, or you owe it to your mate to live as a role model, to be strong, to be healthy. You need to make it so the competition is not only to get along and love each other, but you want to wipe your mate's ass. You don't want your mate wiping your ass. And that's the CrossFit competition.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's it. Like I want to.
You have to stay as healthy as you can.
Yeah, I want to spend as many years as possible with my wife, for sure.
She doesn't want to look at you and be like, "Oh God, in 40 years I'm going to be hosing him down in a chair because he's going to be so." I mean,
oh geez, that's what I love about listening to you talk. You say whatever.
I mean, but that is what happens, right? And I've heard, and I'm stealing this stuff from Greg. He say people don't know this, but the cornerstone of CrossFit is to stay out of the nursing home. There's a few. There's the nutritional component, but the functional fitness component, people misunderstand it. It's really to stay out of the nursing home. And the second you can't wipe yourself, bye-bye.
We have a member at our gym who's 73 years old, and her goal is just, if she falls, to have the strength to get up and also to be able to sit on the toilet. Those are the two things. And she's developing the strength to do those things. She's awesome. A 73-year-old.
Awesome goals.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't you? Because you got friends who can't do that stuff right now.
Right.
And so, she's not trying to do, like, she'll never snatch 60 pounds, probably not. But if she happens to fall at her house, she'll be able to stand up, or she'll be able to sit on the toilet and not have somebody else come pick her up and wipe her butt, so.
And if she has grandkids, she'll be able to play with her grandkids.
Oh, and she is. She's her grandkids are running in 5Ks and she's walking in 5Ks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you're going to Gardenville CrossFit for 6 years. What happens? The Chad starts hitting on Aaron, so you're like, I'm out of here. I'm going to start my own gym.
No. So my wife gets really good at CrossFit. They ask her if she wants to go get her L1 and start coaching.
Oh, that's cool. And you're like, that's bullshit. I've been here longer than you.
No, I was pumped. I didn't think that was something that I would ever do, And so she started doing it, and she fell in love with teaching CrossFit. She did. She was a dental hygienist. She still is part-time dental hygienist. And it's so wild how all of it happened. So that was July of 2019. July of 2019. We had a few conversations at the gym. At one point in time, the owner of our gym was thinking about buying another gym, and he had asked me, would I be interested in managing that gym? And I was like, oh, wow, I've never thought about that before. So that's where the bug kind of started in that conversation. But he ended up not buying the gym. I was like, no, that's no big deal. But wow, that would be cool to do, to like work at a CrossFit gym. That would be awesome. And then so she was coaching. She started coaching more. And I was doing social media for a CrossFit company who teaches skills and stuff like that. So ever since I've been in, so I worked for Killcliff for a little bit. Then I started working with WOD Prep and doing stuff with them. And so they had approached Erin about coaching with them online, teaching different stuff. And she ended up not doing that. But that's when we're like, okay, maybe what if we open the gym one day? And so I talked to our owner, and I was like, hey, would you ever want to go north? So Warrior's like 15 minutes north, another city north of Gardendale. I was like, would you ever want to do anything like that? He's like, no, that's just not for me. Gardendale's where I want to be at. Like, I don't think it would work up there. So that's kind of where that conversation.
Living up there at the time, 15 minutes north?
I live in my hometown is 15 minutes north. I lived in Gardendale. I still live in Gardendale.
Okay.
But so we just had that conversation. Like, no, that's not what I want to do. It's like, okay, cool. And we were at the beach, and my wife was just talking about, I just don't know if I want to be a dental hygienist forever. It's like, well, what do you think about opening up a gym? Like, could you see yourself doing that? And she was like, yeah, I would love to do that. Let's make that a 5-year goal. I was like, okay. I was like, I think in 5 years we could absolutely do that. That'd be fun. So we just, start praying about that. Like, is this something we want to do? I talked to some mentors.
Yeah. What does that mean? You start praying about that? I saw that on your website. You're like, dear God, like writing a letter to Santa.
No, sure. I really thought, I believe wholeheartedly that God kind of, he directs our steps, and he creates plans for our lives and has us in places where he wants us to be and gives us wisdom to make smart decisions on stuff. And I want to be a part of what God's a part of. I don't want to do things that, that he doesn't want me to do with my life. And so that's major for me and my wife. I know that's not everybody, but it is for us. And that's just kind of part of that's our worldview. And so we just started praying to God, like, hey, God, like, this is a cool idea, but if you don't want us to do this and you want us to be a dental hygienist and maybe a part-time pastor and a substitute teacher forever, then I'll do that. That's fine. But
so you ask God, but you're not putting like tons of pressure on him.
Right, yeah, hey, look,
it's your call, buddy.
Yeah, it's your call, right? But if you just show us, right? And that was how that prayer went. And then from there, we
have it regularly. You do that every night.
I wouldn't say every night. Once. It would be consistently. We would pray consistently for sure.
Together
on our own.
You're in the same space. Okay.
Yeah, it would just in times, like we pray different times throughout the day. And sometimes I'll be driving in the car and like, I want to talk to God for like a minute or two. Hey God, what's going on? Like you would call your mom or whatever, just to chit chat. Like, so we'd just be talking. And so from there, we talk to some of our mentors, people that, have some just like value in our life. And like, hey, look, this is something we're thinking about. You tell us, like, is this a good idea? Could you see us doing something like this? And they're like, that makes perfect sense. Why would you not do something like that? I was like, okay, like if it's not just like bad pizza that I ate, right? So now people that I really look up to are saying those same things. Okay, let's see where we even start. 5-year goal. I have a friend who owns a gym in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okie CrossFit is the name of that gym. I just met this guy in June. And yeah, in June, I met him at a church conference. And so we became friends on Facebook. So I reached out to him. I was like, hey, look, we're trying to figure out what even step one is. If we want to do this in 5 years, where do we even start? And in that conversation, he starts like telling me all this stuff. Like, hey, this is what you need to focus on. This is the goals you need to set to see if you can, financially do it, what you need to be looking for, building space-wise, all this stuff. And at the end of the conversation, he said, hey, man, we had 3 gyms. One of our gyms got hit by a tornado, so we shut it down and we just have the one. It's like, I've got all this equipment. I'll sell it to you for pennies on the dollar.
I love these parts of the story that like I would like the name of the gym is Okie CrossFit. That's more just Southern. I just love it. Just like stereotypes. And the gym was hit by a tornado. I mean, I feel like I'm watching. This is a story from Jed Clamp.
Yeah, well, he's in Oklahoma. That tornadoes are huge there.
Right. Got hit by a tornado.
And he said, I'll sell it to you. And he sold us everything we needed equipment-wise to open up our gym. Like,
and you didn't even have a space. Is that why in your Instagram I see a lot in the beginning you guys are outside?
No, that was just an idea that Jake, the guy from Okie CrossFit, said, hey, man, the month leading up to your gym opening, host community workouts in the park for free. And
great idea. Was that a good idea? Sounds like a great idea.
Great idea. That wasn't even on our radar. And he told us that 5 weeks before the gym opened. So we're like, all right, let's promote it for a week and see what happens. And we had like 20 plus people every week come to the different parks in our community and work out. But yeah, so at the end of that conversation, I would call this like a God moment. Like God totally would be where my faith comes in and is like, okay, he's speaking in these moments. This is not coincidence. I met this dude in June. No intentions of ever opening a CrossFit gym. July, we have a conversation with my wife. Or we talk together. We start praying. The very first conversation we have all the equipment to open up our gym. And way less than like a budget that we would even need to open up a gym. Second conversation, I called one friend in the area who had some influential relatives that knew just where property was. And at the end of that conversation, we had a space that cost less than what we were even looking for budget-wise. Those were our first 2 conversations. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is not a 5-year dream. This is like I asked Jake, I was like, well, when do you think we can open? And he's like, I can see you opening in October. I was like, October? Like, we were thinking years. He's like, no, you can do it now.
And how long was that?
I needed him to push me out of the nest and do it.
How long was that? How long was October from when you were talking to him?
July.
Okay, so just months.
July. So July, end of July, August is when he's like, we can have you open by October.
Is this space behind you the gym?
Yeah, this is part of it for sure.
Awesome. Okay, shit. And now you've been open 8 months.
Yes.
You reminded me of a God moment I have. I'm going to share with you.
Okay.
So I was in New York City and I was making a documentary on arm wrestlers, and this one arm wrestler was going to this self-help lecture on how to like get rich, right? And so it was like a 3-hour lecture from this guy, and then if you like his spiel, you can buy like the CDs for $12 million, right?
Yeah.
Or the DVDs. I think it was DVDs back then. Do you know what DVDs are?
Yeah, I know what DVDs are. I remember VHS tapes.
All right. So the guy said, hey. And I'm just kind of sitting there while this guy takes the class, and I'm not really interested in it, and I'm just taking some video and some pictures. But then something he says catches my ear. He said, God will give you whatever you want. And so if you resent rich people, he will make sure that you're not rich.
Huh. That's interesting.
And I was like, wow, because he doesn't want you to become something that you resent. And I just remember thinking, okay, I'm going to make sure that any thoughts I was a Berkeley liberal. I'd grown up in Berkeley, right? Hardcore liberal. And so there was all sorts of animosity towards the wealthy, even though Berkeley's rich as shit. And at that point, I said, I'm going to do two things. And I just came up with this on the fly. Anytime I see any money on the ground, a penny or anything, I'm going to bend over and I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to say to myself, I am a money magnet. And the second thing is I'm not going to have any resentment towards rich people at all. If I see someone in a Ferrari, I'm not going to look at them and be like, they don't deserve that. I'll be like, good for that guy. I'm glad to see people having fun in the world, and I was going to just flip the script, and I wasn't really negative anyway. And I wasn't like a money hungry person, but I just thought it would be a cool experiment, and it worked. I'm doing good. Seriously, it was like within months I got this job that was paying me $3,000 a month, and then I got a raise to $4,000 a month, and then it's just been like, and this is 20 years ago, but I just so there you go. There's my
funny that you said that, because we got a member at our gym who is like,
there's my God story.
He's a big fangirl of you.
Okay.
And right, like an hour before we were doing this, he said, I'm pretty positive that he got his start doing arm wrestling documentaries. If you want a tidbit on him, I'm like, no, thanks. But now I'm going to definitely tell him that I have a fangirl at our gym.
Yeah. It's the name of the movie's Pulling John. Amazing movie. It's on Netflix. It's on iTunes. I recommend it. But yeah, that's my, does that sound like the same God that you know?
I don't know.
Did your God hook me up?
God gives good gifts for sure, but I don't think it's like based on what you think and what you want. Like, I think that's just his character. That's just his character anyways.
Maybe he was just rewarding me because I was a kinder, gentler, humbler, like literally I will get out of my car and like someone will have dumped 20 pennies on the ground and it's in a parking lot and like everyone's ignoring the pennies. And I'll be like, just take a few deep breaths and pick every penny up and say you're a money magnet in your head. And like, this is your moment of humility,
Man. Well, if that's the case, though, man, then I wouldn't have had to go through all the issues I did trying to find a wife.
Oh, you did good, though, buddy. Hey, so when you made so going back, so you opened the gym, and to kind of close that story, and I want to go back to your wife for a second and having kids, personal passion of mine. It's really interesting that it's a huge compliment to CrossFit that a pastor would open a CrossFit gym, because it just shows not the moral or the ethical, but you're a do-gooder, and you weren't going to open you weren't going to open a candy store and sell a cigarette and candy store. You weren't going to open a tobacco joint. And I'm not, whatever, if you smoke or chew tobacco, I'm not, no judgment, but you're not helping anyone.
Right. No, it's help. It's a helping thing. It's the same thing. You're serving people. That's why it was so easy, because I've been serving people for 10 years. I've been giving my life to help strengthen the faith of students who walking through tough, like just trying to navigate being a teenager and make life decisions. So it's the same thing. Now it's like, I want to serve people who have dealt with issues with addiction to eating for years, or just having no self-confidence, or just no drive to do anything, or feeling like there's no way, there's no hope that they're just going to be 400 pounds forever. Like, it's easy. Like, that's my goal in life, is to see people fit spiritually and physically. That's why I feel like I'm here. Right. And so, it was an easy jump, because it's pretty much just, if you're serving people, that's all that matters. That's really it.
You coach a class. Do you have them pray before the workout?
No, I don't do that. Like,
I alienate the non-believers.
Look, I'm a believer, but people can get to know me to know that I'm a believer. I don't feel like you have to, like a Christian gym, right? Like, we're not naming all of our workouts after Bible verses, and there's not all these scriptures on our walls. Like, that's fine if people do that, but no, I won't. Like, that's not what defines me being a believer. How I live my life, how I shape my worldview, how I serve people. I want people to see Jesus in those things, and not just because I have it branded in my CrossFit gym. So we got non-believers who coach at our gym.
Gotcha. So, you'll get them. Don't worry, you'll get them. When you hear someone, when I'm looking at these articles every day that come out, I'm seeing stuff like in the UK, 95% comorbidity with deaths, states like Minnesota, 98.1. I'm seeing like a 90% of the people hospitalized in Illinois or something had diabetes, type 2 diabetes. It makes me, not angry is not the right word, but when people badmouth CrossFit in a time when I know it is the cure, not from getting the ailment, but just rolling with the ailment. Like, I'm 48. I've never been worried my entire life of getting sick. I don't avoid sickness. I don't care about sickness, because I just take care of myself.
Right.
I just really minimize my sugar. Yeah. Who cares? So what? I just minimize my sugar. I don't have unprotected sex with strangers. I mean, it's like pretty simple formula.
Right.
And, when I hear people badmouth it, or have you ever had this thought that, like, wow, it's worse than saying the color red is ugly, or, I mean, you're saying something negligent. You're spreading a misinformation about something that could save someone's life. It's like someone bashing Christianity, let's say, even from your perspective. Like, it's done so much for you. It's allowed you to contribute so much positive energy into this world. And then when someone badmouths CrossFit, you're just kind of like, wow, do they even know what they're doing? Like, you're not just bad mouthing like, hey, I don't like Levi jeans. You could be closing the door for someone whose life could be saved.
Yeah. Just yesterday, we did an outside in a park workout, and one of our members came to that, and we're just talking beforehand. And she said, hey guys, something big happened the other day in my life. I'm like, oh, what's that? And she said, I came off my diabetes medicine. Yeah. And you're like, holy crap, that is like huge. We're like, we're not high-fiving because, social distancing and all that stuff, but like I lose it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what it's all about. And to know like all these stats that you're throwing out, like all these underlying, why would you not? Like, those are the stories. Everybody's got an aunt or uncle or cousin that hurt their shoulder doing CrossFit or busted a knee. Like, whatever. You hear them all the time. They're a dime a dozen. But like, man, people are coming off of, at our gym, blood pressure medicine, now diabetes medicine, right? Like, those things are happening. We've seen over 800 pounds lost at our gym since October.
Yeah, that's incredible. How do you know that? You track that?
Yeah, we have check-ins with our members, like gold check-ins, and they just share what's going on in their life. And so we got Excel sheets for everybody.
Awesome. I love it.
But we're not just measuring those things too. We're like we have a former military guy. He's like, hey, look, I suffered with like panic attacks. Since I've joined this gym, I've had 0 panic attacks. And he credits it to CrossFit. Now, I don't know, hey, look, you said that. I didn't say that. You said it.
I just interviewed Zach Lewis from Skyfall CrossFit. He's not the owner, but he trains there. Lost 100 pounds. taken his anxiety medicine to almost nothing.
Yeah. That's why would
you? Of course, you're off the sugar and you feel better about yourself.
Yeah. Then that's what you can connect life to. Like, why would you not? And that's why as long as we can be open, we're going to be open. And it's a shame,
Congratulations. You saved your life, by the way.
Yeah. And that's, if we shut down tomorrow, it was worth it.
Is there a chance of that from all these small businesses closing?
No, luckily we had some really good mentors that kind of just helped us prepare for this. We were connected with some groups of gyms all over the world. So when this stuff was going on in China, they're like, hey, look, here's what's happening. So they're putting plans together and they're like, hey, maybe you want to try these things. And just the kind of way we live financially, we tried to set things up so we could make it. We had an emergency fund.
What's this group? What's this group you're talking about? Is it Chris Cooper?
Yeah, Chris Cooper, Two Brain. Dude, we just
can't stop hearing good shit about this guy.
We were just fans of Two Brain. I wanted to start Two Brain in October, and I was like, I can't spend that kind of money. Like, I don't even know. We got like 20 members. There's no way I can spend that kind of money. But man, they gave so much stuff away for free when COVID started. And I was like, no, it's worth it. Like, we're joining now. And so
Have you met him yet?
I haven't met him. I've talked to him. We're friends on Facebook now, but I've never met him.
He's cool.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah. Him and Pat Barber are like two of the biggest stories for us. Like, I tell people all the time, Two Brain helped us get our business where we need to do programming. Pat Barber has taken care of us for
another great dude. Lives down the street from me, actually.
Oh, well, I got to do a Zoom for our gym with him 2 weeks ago. And man, everybody loved it. Like, hey, that's the guy that does all of our workout videos.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The final thing. So it goes back to Aaron.
Okay.
So you wait. So, the kids. That's where I was going. The kids. I knew there was one left thing. So you're basically tell her, going back, you basically tell her, hey, look, I'm interested in getting married and moving on with my life. And I just keep looking at you as that person. And if you're not going to be that person, I'm going to have to like take some space from you because that just won't work. I won't be able to find a mate with you in my life.
Yep.
Wow. That's some, like, I want to say that's some slimy ultimatum shit, but it's also just the harsh reality of love.
I was like, I gotta be honest.
And she says to you, in that moment, or she takes a few. In that moment, she says, "Let's do it. Let's see. Okay, I'm willing to take a step in that direction."
Yep.
And then 9 months later, you're married. The question is this: when do you know that you're aligned with her on having kids and a family and all that stuff?
Those are things. So when we started dating, we just talked about those things. Like, hey, like, what are your values? What are your non-negotiables? What could you negotiate? As far as just things you believe, right? So like, hey, I'm a pastor, so I love the Lord. I really would love, for my wife, like that's one of the, it's not ultimatum, but it's like hey, I want to find someone that loves God too, that we're on that same path. And then the other one was really like, I love my family and I really do desire to have a family one day. And do you see yourself wanting those things? If not, awesome.
That's her talking or you're talking or you talking?
It was me talking to her. And she was like, oh my gosh, no guy has ever talked to me like this before. And I was just like, hey, look, before I get emotionally invested anymore, and because I had made so many mistakes, like getting emotionally invested before I really knew somebody. So that's where all the drama is in relationships.
Yeah, I always do that. I always do that. That's the best way.
So I can detach super fast if our values don't line up, or if we're not if our non-negotiables and negotiables don't line up, then I would have just detached and been like, okay, look, before we go any further emotionally, these are the things I'm looking for. Do they line up with what you're looking for? And they did. That was the cool thing. They did. Like, she didn't date anybody for 4 years until she dated me. So she had said no to a lot of people. So I wasn't the only one that got friend zoned. And so she was trying to figure out her stuff in life too. And so we got to that moment, and that was kind of how the conversation went. Like, was that going to happen? We didn't know. Like, we're like, I would like to enjoy being married to you and get to know you and love you. And then, at some point we could bring a kid into that as well. That's just kind of how that conversation went.
And then, so you get married. 9 months after that, so you knew her for years, more than 10 years. Then you get married, and 9 months, or then you guys start dating. 9 months later, you get married. And then how much longer until you have kids?
2 years.
2 years. And a planned kid?
Oh, we were gonna, hey, let's start trying to have a kid now.
And you end up with you have a 2-year-old daughter.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's incredible.
And your wife's pregnant now.
No, not yet.
You don't want to announce that on the podcast?
No. They're so funny. Like, one of my friends just said that the other day, but she's not pregnant. We're just practicing a lot, but that's it.
All right, good. Are you going to have more kids then?
We would like to. I'd like it, if the Lord allows, I'd like to have one more, and then we would love to adopt at some point in time as well.
Was it easy having that kid? Meaning, like, the pregnancy easy?
Oh yeah, man. It was super easy for her. Other than like the very end of it, like, and she worked out all the way up until like 2 days before, or 2 days before she was working out. She was doing like pull-ups, butterfly pull-ups, all that stuff.
Crazy.
All the way up until, and then as soon as she got cleared from the doctor, that was like one of the first questions she asked when she went for her thing, was like, hey, when can I start doing CrossFit again? And as soon as she got cleared, she started back. And it's like all my daughter has known. Like, so our rhythms kind of changed. Like, we can't work out together as much anymore because one of us will have the baby, but the baby's was up here as much as she can. Like, she's got little weights at her house that she picks up. We do this thing. We break down at the end of our workouts. We go Wotown on 3, family on 6, and we'll do the breakdown. And she does that now. She'll say it. She knows what Wotown is. It's like one of her first 10 words was Wotown, and it's cool. I love hearing her say it.
Will you homeschool her?
No, we'll put her in public school for sure. I think I know plenty of people who are homeschooled, and that's cool. People feel like that's what they want to do, but I want to do a good job on my end of raising my daughter, helping her walk through all of life's situations. And I think some of those things you need to face. I don't want to just protect her from everything. So she needs to probably get picked on, and me help encourage her that where her identity is truly found, and, and experience some things. And I want to be able to walk with her as a dad through all of that stuff. That's the promise. Like, hey, look, you may be in this, like, high school may suck, middle school may suck, but guess what? You're going to have a mom and dad who are going to walk with you every step of the way through.
Do you know Russell Berger?
I don't know him. I feel like I know his name.
I think he's in Alabama.
Huntsville is the lawyer guy?
He's not a lawyer, but he's kind of like a lawyer. I want to say he was a Green Beret. Yeah, he used to work for HQ.
Yeah. I know of him.
Anyway, he gave a great talk one time about basically the more you protect your kid, the weaker your kid is. And I know that's a little oversimplification, but it was an amazing talk. It was like the parenting talk that so many parents need to, like, basically we get stronger through hardship. And we all know that through CrossFit, right? We have to struggle in order to get adaptation.
Yeah, and that's what I've been telling so many members too. Like, man, we've been preparing for COVID.
Yes.
Our world has been thrown upside down, but every day in the gym, your world to a degree is thrown upside down. There's a moment that you want to quit, or there's some unknown variable, but you make it through it. You figure out a way and you do it. And if you can't connect those two things, I don't know what else to tell you, but so don't let all this stuff like make you go crazy. Like, find out how even just exercise can really help you shape some of the experiences outside the gym that you're kind of going through.
Greg Glassman has been saying for 20 years, we have a cure to the world's most vexing problem. And he has been saying for 20 years, don't eat sugar. And of those comorbidities, 99% of them, from what I can see, just from reading the paper, are caused from, guess what? Eating sugar.
Yeah.
Heart disease, hypertension, diabetes. It's like, yeah, the whole entire CrossFit community has been preparing for this. And this COVID, I mean, thank God it's not killing kids.
Yeah. Now, that's the great thing.
Killing people with chronic disease. It's picking on people with chronic disease.
Yeah, I'm glad, because if it was, then I would be in my house all the time.
Yeah, and you can turn chronic disease around in 21 days, man. Yep. That easy. I'm no fucking doctor, but I know you can go to a CrossFit gym. I know someone can go to your gym. They get the double whammy at your gym. They can ask you to pray for them, and they can get off the sugar and start moving in 21 days, they'll be at the 95-yard line of protection from COVID. Now, don't anyone say anything stupid. Well, you CrossFitters can still get it. Yeah, we know everyone can get it. That's not what I'm suggesting.
Wheeler, he got it, but we're gonna live. Hope like for all stuff I'm seeing, we're gonna live.
He got a dry cough.
Yeah, exactly.
Trace, thank you so much.
Man, thank you. This is like it's weird. I can't believe I'm talking to you right now. That's the crazy thing. Well, dude, man, you're the behind the scenes stuff back in the day. That's the first time I'd ever like, who is this guy talking on the other side of this camera? But I was hooked from that point. When I heard Josh Bridges say, I'm just here to lift rogue weights, drink motherfucking Kill Cliff, and wear Nike shoes, man. That is the line. I was like, this is –
okay, last question. Why is Josh Bridges so popular? He's not – he can't even win the game.
I saw that clip on your Instagram. You're like, I don't know why, man. You're going to be 100 years old and people are still going to think you're going to win the CrossFit.
Yeah, what is going on with this guy? Why?
I don't know, man. I just like him. I really do. I'm a fan of him and Dan Bailey, both of those guys.
Yeah, of course you do. Dan scratches like that Christian good guy. Like, okay, he could date my sister. And Josh is kind of like, oh, he's a bad dude. He's got that mustache, Navy SEAL shit going.
Yeah, I just like he was anti, a lot of the things. He wasn't your typical dude that you were filming at that time. Maybe that's why I like him so much.
Yeah. All right, brother.
Thank you so much.
Shake your hand.
You're doing that, but that's really good. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
All right. You got my digits. Text me anytime.